Hey, good for your heart, man.
Yeah.
It's good for your heart.
Now when you got his one.
Then he needs even more
Geoff's
work.
Diet Pop.
It's in the car.
No, it's at the bar.
Wow, you guys are all set up here.
Zach, right down the second level there. Ask him for a Diet Pop of some kind. Preferably Pepsi or Coca-Cola.
Some good lines.
Is there any air conditioning?
Yeah. There is. Just
You want to do with Geoff second first? I want to do
Well, come on and have a seat, and they should be rolling. They should be rolling right now. Well, he is rolling. There he is, Zach. This is our video producer here, Zach Holman, who is just finished a really fabulous dance video thing that is MTV quality. It is beautiful and everything, and features one of my sons bumbling through it trying to dance. So. Air conditioning, but it's going to be noisy.
Yeah.
No problem with
Get
it.
your yayas.
How much noise?
There's been more than Don't forget Zach's going to come up too.
Where's Zach? He is.
Went to get
Dude,
Geoff.
Crouch was looking at me. Whoa. No, he's not. He's.
Who went to get headphones, Tim?
What?
Who went to get headphones?
Dan said he'd be up with him.
Say he'd be up. Go ahead.
Greasy fake squirrel.
Oh, there he is.
Just to have you hanging out here and that, I think that these guys are going to be well worth your time to work with. And you know that far better than I do.
I feel it, especially on
Well, we had kind of a fun time with them when they opened up for 30 Seconds to Mars here, and everything was going along great until we had. You're throwing his drink on?
It's Geoff's drink.
What a job.
Oh, it's very 2006. We don't pass drinks. We toss them.
This actually, I don't know if you remember Pure Prairie Lake. This was their original PA system.
I can't say anything about that.
I know.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I might be here.
But
That's fine.
we were fortunate.
Tell me when you guys are
their
rolling,
engineer,
please.
Rick Barnes, is a good friend of
I'm
ours
rolling.
and was very gracious to give us those pieces and that. But
There's a nude woman's body.
that's actually a real, actual real body casting of a friend of mine.
I'll give you $5.
The artist won't tell me what friend it is of mine, only that it is of a friend of mine, and that. But that's quite bizarre.
Weird, they're on Disney.
Production.
I want to be an artist.
But the
I
first
like
time these
that
kids
hat.
played, they were on stage. You know, we got a sold-out crowd, 650 people in the room, just going crazy. They were having a blast. And that the music sounded great. They ended up being, without question, the finest band on the stage that night. And they, because of a little comedy routine I attempted to do in the beginning, they ended up running just about a minute and a half over, which in a rock and roll show, as I'm sure you know, a minute is serious time. I mean, you know, we should shoot people after 2 minutes. You know, after 3 minutes, you know, they should be hung and drawn and quartered. But we were running a little late, and the engineer or the tour manager started pulling channels, muting things, and screwing with them, yelling at them through the monitors and all this stuff. And well, what impressed me was the fact that these guys were able to maintain their composure. And when they're being yelled at by this moron, and were able to, you know, finish up the best they could with what they had, and it still sounded good, and they wrapped it up, and it was a professional ending, and it sounded great, and to have that kind of poise at such a young age, I think is quite admirable.
There was that sort of professionalism that sort of, I know they've got, that strikes me as one of the assets, you know, which is really great.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well, and the dedication to it, you know, the dedication to music, and that's something that I've seen through my period here. That you have to dedicate your life to it. I mean, you really have to be serious about it, as you have most certainly done. And that from a very young age. I mean, what was your first recording session? You were what, 14, 15?
15 or 15, just coming out to 16.
Yeah, and I mean, you must have had a heck of an ear at that point to be able to really.
You should be. You should definitely be rolling right now, immediately.
Present on, you know, Love Me Do and stuff. I mean, you know, Gary Clarkson to now to the present day.
Well, I mean, and it's not in any way indicating you're at any type of an advanced age or anything, but you have most certainly been around for
Yeah, sure.
some of the real important years of rock and roll and that. And do you find it hard to keep your energy level up, or do
Not
kids
at
like
all.
this inspire you?
Not at all. I get inspiration from this, because there's so much garbage around. Forget the expression, but there is.
I couldn't agree with
and
you
it's
more.
so rare to come across, this sort of artistic merit, as I call it. I think the last time was with Nellie, a young girl singing from New York called Nellie Mackay.
Oh, yeah.
That was another great sort of talent. She was only like 18 and just oozing with talent. So I only sort of really try and latch on to something that I know is going to be rewarding for me personally,
Right.
So which is great
Well,
feeling.
and it's a cool time to be in your life, I mean, I'm an old man now, and I have no problem with it, but what I've found is that I'm comfortable with it. I'm comfortable with being older. I understand things a little better and that, and the one thing that I completely agree with you on is if it's not something that you really want to do and it's not something personally motivating, then I'm not doing it.
No, right, exactly.
That's where
But it's
I'm
also being able to use, the experience that you personally, like myself, you've possibly gained throughout your life, and I get great, enjoyment from passing that experience on to someone else, which is great.
Well, I think you picked some fine people to work with on that.
Yeah.
It's a very wonderful thing. I mean, just obviously, just your name and reputation alone are going to make a whole lot of people listen to the work,
Sure.
and that without a doubt, and I think it's pretty damned exciting.
There's still a couple of hurdles, i.e., record companies, but as everybody in the business knows.
Yeah, it amazes me, some of the feelings that go on with the artists and the record companies and that, because it seems to be what should be such a complimentary situation is completely adversarial, and to be out on the road and to be able to really make it now on the road, you have to be not only just dedicated, but you have to be tenacious as hell, to be just able to get up every morning and continue to do it, and then just lucky. And then maybe it'll work out.
Yeah, I've got a good feeling about it. It'll work out, I'm sure.
Well, I think that whatever you guys put together on it is going to be well worthwhile.
Sure.
It's just wonderful to have you in the house here.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
It's great. What's with the sheriff thing? I mean, is this?
It was a gift, and it's actually from the 1960s. It's an authentic Texas deputy marshal.
All right.
Yeah.
Where's in the bedroom too?
I have to remind them.
Really? Well, you can go to jail over there. So what do you guys think? I mean, this has got to be an excellent opportunity for you. I know that you've been in the limelight a lot with the Beatles tribute program that you've done, being the youngest band out there doing it and then going through.
I'd like to credit the mini beats.
They were Germans.
Oh,
They were
okay.
younger,
Oh, were they? Okay.
but they also had bad English.
They were also blonde.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to email, who was it?
Hans.
Hans. And his email address doesn't exist anymore, which
Good thing for Hans.
I just hope they see us somewhere. I want to talk to them. I'm not kidding.
Well, and the other thing too is I know that when you were very young doing this whole thing, I mean, it's kind of a novelty act when you're 8, 10, and 11 years old. I mean, it's kind of an interesting thing and that, but then you guys have really become serious musicians out of all of this. And I know you took it seriously in the beginning, but now you've really taken it to a whole nother level in that. And I think that I think it says something too that you're able to really see it through. So many people that have the stardom and the fame, very early on, aren't able to really carry it on into an adult fashion, and that to keep, look at how many of them are in jail.
Well, all we do is lip sync. It's not that hard.
No, what's that ugly redhead guy that was a kid star? It's like sex obsessed now.
Macaulay Culkin?
Oh. Off topic.
Wait. No. Who?
You mean the kid from the
Oh,
park?
yeah. Yeah, that
What's
one
his
Danny
name? The redheaded drug addict.
Oh.
He was on Celebrity Boxing.
Well, what we're hoping
Oh, right.
for is that we're going to be able to really see on TV doing something really serious as opposed to, talking with people about your rehab. I mean,
I'm not
it would
ashamed to
be-
talk about it.
It'd be nice just to avoid that little hurdle, you know, so, but,
Back
Well-
when I was 2, I had a really serious coke problem. I'll talk about it.
He's the quiet one.
he's quite, there you go, there you go.
That's the sad thing.
Well, where are you off to after you leave the States? What's the next, back to England? and-
No, I mean, I live in Los Angeles, so I mean, I don't.
So
So I know next weekend I'm going to Philadelphia, the Narrows they've got a university there. So Howard Massey, who co-wrote the book with me, Howard's going to mediate, you know, a talk. So there's about 400, I think, going to this university. So we talk about the book and Beatle days and stuff.
Cool.
And there's tons of questions as you can imagine.
Oh, I imagine.
And so you know, I get enjoyment from that too now. You know, so that's great.
So are you on book tours a lot with it?
No, this is not really a book tour. This is, you know, Narrows, the Grammy people have sort of organised it because we did one down in Austin, Texas, a few weeks ago, and it was so good. We did it on the Austin City. set.
Austin.
So we did it. We
Fabulous.
did it down there. So it's all worked out. You know, so I thought, well, I don't want to do too many of them, but I said I'd do the one in Philadelphia. You know.
Well, there's got to be just thousands and thousands of people clamoring for a little piece of the action.
Why
and a
not?
little
Why
piece
not?
of it.
But, you know, why not sort of share what you know? And take it with you and not tell anyone. So you know, what's the point?
Yeah. Well, what would you like to add to all this? Being the father of all of these talented kids, it's kind of, I know your head's got to be swelled up, you know, huge when you get on stage with those guys.
Come on, Dad.
And that, you know, I must say one of the coolest things I really enjoyed when you played here before, when you asked me to introduce the band as a father and his 3 sons and their best friend. I thought that was pretty classy. I thought it was a great way to get the show started, and you know, without question, you're a very accomplished musician yourself, and had to come from somewhere. So obviously, we know you married a beautiful woman to get good-looking kids. 'Cause, you can to the
Sound like
music end
Tim.
of it or something, but.
Well, I'm having the time of my life. I met my 3rd childhood, so I don't know how else to better state it. I'm just having a great time, and I feel honored to play with it now.
Well, that's because they're better than you are now.
Exactly.
He's just
That was
using
the
us to
whole
get women.
goal, and they reached it.
Oh, it's been a real treat to work with you guys on this project, and working with you on the other concert was a lot of fun, and I want you to be assured that we most certainly put the tour manager in his place after we.
Yeah, we heard that.
Well, I'm thinking, hey, you know, I pretended to be a musician at one point, but I'm just not that good. So I'm very happy to be in the music business and to have a little part in it and to be able to help, you know, get something going on it and that. And I noticed that, you know, a lot of these tour managers are the same thing. You know, they really wish they were up there, and that and what we all got to understand. I mean, it's all about the music. It's about the art form that's being put out there, and we have to do what we can to support that.
Yes.
And I think that's the primary. It's got to be the primary objective, you know, without question.
And on behalf of the boys and myself, we have to say it's been a pleasure working with you, Mark.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I know they won't say that, but you're talking for
It's
them.
fun.
They
I
never
just
learn
come
to
for the
read.
hats.
Well, it's cool. We got some really nice VIP members down there that want to say hi, and they're very excited to get their book and to have an autographed copy of it. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mine's going to go on the shelf.
Very much.
Of course, mine's the only one that didn't get autographed, so I'm going to have to ask you to do one. I pulled it out earlier. I was going to make sure there was at least one left.
No, I didn't know whether you wanted a couple not autographed, but I signed them all.
Cool. Cool.
In case you needed them for any special.
There's a small transition during the time when I am done with the boys and then Patrick comes on. If you want to take just like a small, 1 minute or something other thing, or I don't know, during the introduction too, I mean, you could also present it as 2 shows, the father and the sons, and then the sons on their own type of thing.
We can do that.
Anything you want, but I'm saying if we could have just like a minute worth of,
Transition.
not have dead air time maybe. I mean, I could talk if you want, but I thought if
I'll
you're
fill
having
it.
fun.
I'll fill it, no problem. One of the things I did want to clear with you, because I was hoping to recognize you from the stage for the crowd, and that and just say a few things and that, and I want to make sure that that was cool with you.
Yeah.
We can do that. Great.
That's
Great.
Only a few things.
Okay.
So
Well.
I'm a bit shy.
We've got a mounted camera up there, kind of on
Put a
backstage.
bag over
And
there.
if we could take that opportunity to change tapes,
Just put like a sensor bar
in that
over
little
it.
1 minute intermission, that would be great for us.
Cool.
Well, like, we're really concerned about the technical problems that you have to deal with.
We are
You know?
full of technical problems. Nothing
We're-
but.
And we're supposed to deal with your, so we want me to do your job too.
If you could, actually, if you could do these guys' job.
So we need to come and change the tapes for
I want
you?
that guy's shirt.
You can't hold it.
Right now.
Yeah, look at it.
Can we share it?
Well, I don't want the shirt, I just want him not wearing a shirt.
I see where you're going with that. I'll take the shirt.
Well, what's
Ew, I get it.
what's one of your fondest memories from working with the Beatles?
Oh my
and
God.
there? I know there had to be like 10. We got to the point here where people asked our best concert, we'd say the top 10.
Well, I mean, I've got fond. I don't know. I don't know. I think that one of the biggest memories that always sticks in my life is when we recorded A Day in the Life, and when I lifted the vocal fader up with John's voice, you know, on the other end with its slapback echo, because John used to hate the sound of his voice. He always wanted to give it up a bit. So it was when we first lifted the fader up and heard him sing Day in the Life for the first time, and just shivers went down our backs. You know.
That's an incredible
So
song.
I mean, you know, and they really did. It was shivers just ran down our backs in the control room when we heard him start singing that. We'd heard him sort of run through it down in the studio. But, you know.
I just happened to be here.
That's a friend of mine owns that magazine.
So I guess that's not necessarily a fond memory, but a great memory. You know.
Well, and that's well, I think it would be certainly fitting of such an accomplished engineer to pick out such a musical moment
Yeah.
on that. You know, that is great. Who was the toughest one to work with? I mean, Ringo had to be just fun all the time.
Well, it was the toughness came from the demands, either from John, who had the ideas in his head but couldn't express himself, and Paul, who was the musician, sort of the musician's musician, who had the musical expressions, you know. So they were both demanding in those senses, and George Harrison not too demanding really, and Ringo drumming. You know. Simple as that.
Well, George is certainly one of my favorite guitar players, and you know, some of the work that he did, you know, My Guitar Gently Weeps, I just, you know, it still gets me, you know, and the work that you produced and engineered for years, I mean, is still selling millions and millions
of
today.
course,
You know,
of
I mean,
course.
it's incredible.
Yeah.
You know that how that's held up, and it still sounds so fresh. You know.
One of the nicest solos that we ever did, to my way of thinking, with the emotionally was the one that he did on Free as a Bird, you know, when we made that record, because we knew John was. The emotion from George into that solo is just enormous.
It is.
It really is.
That's amazing.
He's he's obviously just playing it for John.
Well, there had to be, you know, just some serious magic in those years, and I'm sure there's probably another book full of memories and all of that
Yeah,
too.
yeah, because a lot more happened since then. Yeah. It's just been my life, so hopefully it'll brush onto these boys. You know.
Well, it's such a cool thing to be able to pass it on.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
when you've accomplished as many things as you have. You know, 4 Grammys. I mean, that's got to be up there on the charts for people winning Grammys. There, you know.
Sure.
If I could
That's
interject
be
something here
amazing.
too, I mean, I don't know if you're aware of it, but Geoff has worked with Robin Trower, Geoff Beck, Elvis Costello, Emerick,
Badfinger.
Gino Vanelli,
Yeah, bad thing.
Badfinger, yeah. I mean, a who's list of artists that a lot of people, I mean, he's associated, of course, the most with the Beatles, but he has a track record of, Robin Trower's Bridge of Sighs was his landmark.
Oh, that's
you
a
know, to
phenomenal
our
record.
generation, everybody.
Yeah.
He helped Robin Trower get that guitar sound on that album.
Wow.
Which wasn't easy.
Well,
There's somebody that
Yeah, that is an incredible album, and it is such a unique sound.
Yeah.
And that.
It wasn't easy, but it was worth it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, nothing, you know, things are hard sometimes, but you know, it's just the effort is worth it. You know?
Well, and I mean, the list of people that you just, laid out are some of the most serious musicians around, and it must be a treat to be able to work with people that do take it that seriously,
sure.
that are willing to put in the time to really make it, right, and are willing to cooperate and take advantage of your expertise on it.
I mean, I can't make records, whether it be producing or engineering, with modern techniques. I'm still back to, the analog way, and it comes to the studio floor, and it's not manufactured in a control room with tuning devices, and the singer's sung the song twice, they go home, and you do the vocal for them. So I don't work like that, So I end up working with real artists.
Well, and I don't think that technology has really been able to improve upon the analog systems that are there. I don't think that they've been able to really generate that kind of a sound.
In fact, when they measure how good something digital is, they go, it's almost as good as analog.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I mean, it's
That's the measurement.
if Stevie or Zach were to sing it when we start making a record, I mean, if they're out of tune, we don't retune it for them. They go back and re-sing it, retune. Simple
Right.
as that. Which is good for them.
Right, right. Well, that type of an approach to making a record not only gives you the best record, but it also improves your ability to to perform what you do.
And
When you're forced to do it right, as opposed to just okay, that's good enough, and they can fix it in post production. That's cool.
Unfortunately.
Well, but then you get the true measure of your ability out there, and that's what you really want to put forth.
That's right.
And without question, you guys have should be very confident in that area. So just on kind of on an off note on that, what's your opinion of rap?
I hate it.
Good.
I can't listen to it.
Well, that's why I didn't call it rap music,
No,
because
exactly.
it's just
No, I can't listen to that.
yeah. I do that.
Except we did on Nellie McKay's album. There was one rap track that she did, and the vocal was extremely fast, and it's very easy to do those vocals with modern technology with computers. But we were on analog, and the guy who was operating the tape machines was actually dropping in the lines because they were so fast. So she did alternate lines, and then we were sort of dropping in the other lines in between. So she missed a line, put the next line in, this line, put so on, and the guy was like dropping in and out like this. It was unbelievable to see it. So from that aspect, I appreciate doing it.
It was a technical challenge.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But hers was sort of tongue in cheek, her version. But it was good. But I hate that.
Yeah, well, to me, it represents so much negativity and and one of the things that music should make you feel good. I mean, it should be positive. It doesn't always have to be a goody two shoes message, but it's got to be from the heart
Well, there's a documentary on Bob Dylan that was very interesting in the early '60s. An artist was Gage. Someone came to Dylan and wanted to tell him about somebody in Greenwich Village, and his first question was, do they have anything to say? Whether it be musical or lyrical.
Right.
And a lot of the music today really doesn't have that much to say. It's kind of an inner traumatic psychological frustration.
So you're saying that songs about cars and big wads of money and big butts and that is not really saying anything?
Well, it is, but the Beach Boys said it in a very melodic way.
Well, these are modern day poets.
And there's nothing wrong with modern day poetry, but the repetition of it's funny. It's so cookie cutter. That's my issue. I mean, there are certain modern songs, whether they be hip hop or modern rock, that do stand out and have a place. But nevertheless, what happens is you have like 150 other people or bands singing the same song in the same key with the same message, and eventually it's like watching the same car commercial over.
Right.
You just lose it.
Well, what impressed me about what you guys are doing here is that when I listened to your originals and when you sent me that CD to begin with, it was kind of like a flashback there. It was like something that was that was more of a '60s, early '70s mindset. When you wrote that, was that because of the acid you were doing at that time? Or,
Yes.
was that a flashback in that, or?
I mean,
I know you had the Coke thing at 2, but I
Please,
figured maybe at 10 you graduated to that. But no, it's got to be obviously a bit of an influence from your father as to the music that you play, and then all of the stuff that you decided to study is musically in that. But your originals to me could have come right out of that period. And it's nice to see that coming back, and hopefully will be recognized again.
Yeah, I think everything's a wheel, and there's more musicality in that era. We lived, our generation. It was a very special time. I liken it to the time when the greats, the Mozarts, the Beethovens, the Handels, they had something going on there. Symphonies are still making millions off of their music now. If it's good today, if it's really good, it's always good. And I think the wheel is turning around where more and more young people are interested in discovering harmony, melody, vocals, musicality in general. And these guys have a great interest in musicality where the modern stuff didn't really challenge their talent. I mean, they could do that in their sleep. And everybody goes, "Why?" They would come up to me at bars and we're playing, and they go, "Why don't you let the boys play what they want to play?" And I start laughing and go, "They are playing what they want to play."
Well, and I imagine you do get that being, probably viewing as, oh, you're dictating everything that these guys are doing and that.
Well, I mean, I'd
but
like to play a little more Kenny Loggins, but I mean, I wanted to go with a little bit of Milli Vanilli, but they said that's out of the question.
Well, and it's obvious too the way you guys interact on stage, and that the way that you are when you're playing. It's very obvious that you really like what you're doing, and that it motivates you, and it comes through. And I've seen 1,000 bands on the stage here, and you can tell the people that are going through the motions and playing it like they've played it every night, but without the real raw emotion in that. But when you guys are playing up there, it hits me that you love what you're doing, that this is something that makes a difference to you, that you're pouring it out for us and that, and it most certainly is appreciated.
And not to be a bragging dad, and I don't want to come off that way, but I mean,
They get it all from their mom anyway.
for instance, Stevie's harmonica playing, in my knowledge, I don't know if there's anybody his age, I mean, he could play like that. He could play like that 3 years ago. Would you guys quit picking on
You
him?
were singing.
But for instance, his harmonica playing, he literally locked himself away for a long time and studied my old blues collection.
With a beard. Hadn't showered in 4 years.
And I would challenge anybody, any person on earth today on a blues harmonica, to put him up against Stevie.
Oh, it sounds great. I mean, that was the first time that we saw you in a little bar up in Milford there. He was playing that, and and we had to leave before you really kicked it out. But just the taste of it at that point, I knew I had to have you here at some point. And that 30 Seconds to Mars show was the first chance we had to get you in here, and now it's your night, man. It's your thing. So
It's all gone downhill.
And we've learned a special Lawrence Welk set just for you. And a 1 and a 2.
With spoons.
Well, what was killing me at that concert was when he's muting things. You were playing a Hendrix tune for me.
Right, it was for you. He's cutting us out.
Oh, God.
That was funny when he's like,
Please get off the stage.
Time's up, guys.
Time's up.
Let's wrap it up, guys. Let's wrap it up.
Oh, that was so crazy. Well, when he ran out of here, he was sitting up here, and he goes running out of here to get out, and he says, "Oh my God, that's not the last song, Emily!" And he just winks out, and he goes out, runs out, throwing the door open and everything. I had a couple of my friends up here. I said, let's stand up here, and we stood in the doorway. I said, "We are about to witness utter, pure stupidity," and he just ran down those steps, slamming doors, and couldn't get down there fast enough. We were hoping he tripped on the way, but he ended up getting there. But tonight we'll yell at you through the monitors just for old times.
Yeah.
So that you
We've
can-
got to do that.
You should meet our tour manager.
Tell us to get off the stage during the encore.
He's big and black, and his name's Bubba. Been to prison
And he's
5
a girl.
times. Yeah, used to be a man. It was expensive.
I'm just kind of creeped out right now because I saw Groucho.
Now, we're just gonna have last in line do 45 minutes, right? Is that what you want, or 30 minutes?
It's your show, man.
Okay, I was thinking 45, what do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, what, 30?
45's fine.
That's my banker.
There you go. And then what I figure we'll do is after
Same
that,
Jewish.
after we get them cleared, then we'll pull the curtain and reset, and then we'll
Okay.
come out and do it up. And that's when I was thinking that I would do the introduction right before they go out for the first time.
Sure.
And that, and then somebody will probably shine too many lights on you at that time.
Are
But
you going to do that?
then we'll.
In the toilet?
Wait, we have to play?
Then you have to rock the house. And,
I left my hands at home.
which too, I like the fact that they're fairly interchangeable on instruments. And
Oh, yeah.
too, I think that's way cool.
Every one of them's a drummer.
I think that's way cool.
No, it's pretty neat.
Yeah. Well.
You gonna tell Roger, or am I? I guess it's my job to do
What?
dirty work. 25?
I said 45.
Oh, I'm
25.
sorry.
When are you gonna scream?
No,
Pinch
I
me
don't
really
know
hard.
what you were thinking. I was confused. Mixed
Because
signal.
Jake just wants to spend time with Natalie.
No, I just figured 45. I never said 25, you defo.
Defo.
So who's Natalie?
His mom.
You're on camera, dude.
My aunt, but I got a thing.
Just everybody point.
Is Natalie a distraction?
She's a dog. We all brought our dogs.
Yeah, that's the real distraction.
I mean, you can see their genitals.
So, I mean,
This is getting really weird. I
We're
quit.
straight. Straight.
Okay, we didn't really bring our dogs. It was just a rumor. I should probably
We
just stop talking.
We actually had a band come through there, had that on their rider. They wanted a small dog to play with for the day on their rider.
Bestiality, eh?
No. They weren't weird. They were well, they were weird, but they weren't weird that way.
Kids say the darndest things.
They weren't weird that way, but they definitely were eccentric.
Well, we wanted to copy Van Halen and only have brown M&Ms, but it was too late.
They don't make brown M&Ms anymore. They're based with blue ones.
What?
And the brown ones were my favorite. Well, the light brown ones.
Well, they
never
also
had
added
this-
green.
They did have light brown M&Ms.
Yeah, they did. They replaced the
Must be
brown ones
new
with blue and
orange.
green.
You're wasting camera time.
No, I'm not.
Now you are aware that the color has no taste.
Yeah, but
Don't ruin it for me. What's next? Santa's not
Well, it's like if
available?
you put sprinkles on shit, it's good.
No, Santa's definitely real.
so is Groucho.
He was
He
real.
lives on.
There's a great scene in one of the Beatle documentaries. They're coming off stage at Washington, D.C., and the press really didn't have a clue at that time as what's going on. So John Lennon's walking backstage, and he goes, John, he goes, which one are you? And John goes, I'm Eric. He goes, Eric, nice to see you, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, no, I'm just joking, I'm John. And he goes, how does it feel to know that, I forget, I think he said 40 million people are looking at you right now? And he points to the cameraman and he goes, I only see one.
Well, that is amazing. The first time the Beatles were here, it was the biggest audience, TV audience in the in the history of TV at that time.
And
it was
crime dropped
amazing.
and everything else.
Everybody was watching that. I had to watch it from the top of the steps because I was in 4th grade, and my parents had the youth group over and that, and we weren't allowed to. We had to sit upstairs and that. So we kind of looked over everybody's shoulders. But it was a changing experience in that.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, if you weren't there, a lot of people don't understand the impact that it had, societal and even technical. I mean, with Geoff, on the technical end, if you read some of the articles, and let me brag about Geoff, in Mix Magazine or something like that, I mean, Geoff is really, his contribution is a landmark in the history of technological, all the wonderful things we have today.
But that was from Revolver onwards. wasn't it?
Yeah, from Revolver onwards. The sonics and the technology that developed from, like Elvis Costello says in the foreword of the book, he's talking about, Geoff sitting there working with duct tape and just MacGyvering everything, because the Beatles are going, I want to sound like this, and
Yeah,
the other guys are going, I don't know how to make that sound. And Geoff never said no. He just said, okay, well, let me try.
Or make a sound. Of course, yeah.
Well, you have to be creative to be able to get the kind of output that you did. I mean, that's all a creative work. Now, there was a couple of particular compressors and things that you were using that were kind of almost exclusive to that Beatles sound. And
Yeah, I was talking to your engineer Chris earlier on about that, you know, because it was basically the drum sound which changed on Revolve, which had closer sound, but I was using the Fairchild 660 limiter, and I used to put the whole drum kit through that because the drums were just mono in those days. And that's how it magically sort of got out of just what it happened, you know. Compressors were just outtakes and stuff. You know, but sometimes I would, you know, sort of put one compressor into another compressor into another compressor into another compressor and so on. And then using the revolving Leslie speaker for effects as well, you know, which was vocal sound onto my
Oh, what a
which only
fabulous
shoots
piece
in
of
on the
equipment
last
that is.
verse. And I noticed that on the other verses prior to that, it's actually stationary, and I think we let it start spinning on the last verse.
So that's a remarkable piece of
Yeah.
equipment, you know, and it's still,
Yeah, sure.
you know, it's still.
But when you see it, it's so antiquated looking. It's got two knobs, right, Geoff? Or,
No, not on the revolving speaker.
no, I'm talking about the Fairchild.
Oh, yeah, it's got a few knobs, but I mean, that was just the sound of it, you know.
Yeah.
And it was great for guitars too,
Oh, yeah.
and cell phones.
Nobody could ever figure out how to get those
Hello?
guitar sounds.
No,
when they
it
were
was a
playing
Fairchild.
famous.
It was a Fairchild.
Hello?
Is there any in existence?
Oh, sure, that's like $30,000 each now.
Sure, come on up.
And
We're
they don't
just
work- they
hanging
don't
out
work
with
properly.
Geoff Emerick.
And they don't work properly.
Are they newer ones or the old ones?
No, they don't make them.
Yeah,
They'll
just get a hold of Brian down there and come on up and meet Geoff Emerick.
Brian's standing here.
Okay.
Who's coming in?
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna turn this damn thing off.
I turned mine off.
I'd rather just throw it into a wall and never pick it up again, man.
Do it.
You know?
It will be like the Who at the end of the act. We'll smash it with our guitars
There you
and set it
go.
on fire.
I would love to do
I'm
that.
gonna get a beverage.
Who am I looking for downstairs?
I'll be right back.
Dad,
Mark.
Dad.
I'm leaving the room. You can say everything you ever want.
Okay,
Ray and
wait.
Yeah,
Water?
Ray and Linda.
Dad?
Ray and the water.
Water?
Dad,
I have two hands. If
You
want-
also have two legs.
We just finished our 20th century throne curtain. We've been busting butt to get that. That's actually a bathroom.
Whoa, it is? Because I kind of need the.
What do you
Well,
want to do? It on
I ate a
film?
lot today.
Is that on film?
Number
Yeah.
one, number two.
We can.
I just want to check it out.
Isn't that crazy?
Is that where the heat used to go from the carbon?
Well, they're carbon arc. Well, they were carbon arc projectors. This was the original projection booth.
So that's where the...
That was piped. That was piped into both of the projectors. And we've got. There's some things mounted out
Yeah,
here.
what are they?
Those are the original house dimmers.
Oh, really?
That's the original. So you
Really?
can catch a lever and just pull them down,
Oh,
and
wow.
then go right back to the
Yeah, I'm
movies.
trying to
And
figure out what it was. I saw the...
Check this out, get this.
Jake is peeing.
Jake
is
hold on a
urinating.
minute, hold on a minute, boys.
Can you lock the curtain? There we go.
One of you camera boys comes in here.
Stop looking in, boys.
Not really.
Stevie.
Jake, I hear no tinkle.
I just like it because I'm right above Stevie. What are you doing?
I want to pee.
Pee.
You said you were gonna pee.
We're the Furious Guardian Curtain, Jake.
I have Ray and Linda.
Jeff.
Hey, Linda, how are you?
This one's Linda.